Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Eliza, and if you are new to the channel, this is just a place where I talk about true crime, conspiracies, weird history, anything that I find interesting and that I think you guys will find interesting. If that sounds cool to any of you guys, feel free to go ahead and subscribe. You don't have to, it's just a suggestion. We are going to be talking about Lake Lanier. I am a Midwest gal, okay? I don't live anywhere near Lake Lanier, but when I found out about this story, I decided that I had to share it with you guys because I just find it so interesting. So without any further ado, let's get right into the creepy crawly history of Lake Lanier and why it's so deadly. So Lake Lanier is named after a man called Sidney Lanier, S-I-D, not S-Y-D. It's named after Sidney Lanier, who was an Army Confederate veteran and a poet. This lake is 44 miles long and 156 feet deep. This man-made lake was created in 1956 by the U.S. Army, and they continue to maintain the lake and its water levels to this day. Additionally, this lake is located northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, if you're wondering the exact position. This lake is home to many species of fish, including bass, catfish, and trout, and it also provides a lot of drinking water for the surrounding areas. This lake is also a very popular tourist attraction. It attracts about 10 million visitors per year, and it has, people do a lot of boating activities, a lot of things like water skiing, jet skiing, swimming, all that good stuff. It is like a summer hotspot, and it makes sense because it is a beautiful place to be. So now that you guys know a little bit about Lake Lanier, some of the factoids about it, let's move right along to the history of this lake. We know it was made in 1956, but what was there before the lake? The dark history of Lake Lanier started as early as the 1830s. Cherokee tribes were forced out of their land, which was around and near where Lake Lanier is today. They were forced out of their land and forced to walk the Trail of Tears, where over 4,000 people died. I won't get into the intense history of the Trail of Tears because it is so devastating, but that is where this grim history started. So from the very beginning of the land of Lake Lanier, it was full of terror and heartbreak. Around 1912, the city of Oscarville, Georgia, was constructed on top of this land. Now, Oscarville was a mainly black community, and they were known for their sense of community and their many churches. This was a place where people really made their homes. They had, farmland that they owned and cultivated, and houses and schools. They would have picnics and socials, and it was just this quaint little town. Things were fine and happy until September 5th of 1912, when two black men were accused of assaulting a white woman near Cummings, Georgia. A few days later, on September 9th, a woman named Sleety Mae Crow was found assaulted and murdered near the woods in Oscarville. A few men from Oscarville were taken in as suspects, including a 24-year-old man named Robert Edwards. A white mob gathered, and they were screaming and begging for the release of Robert Edwards because they wanted to attack him. This white mob rushed into the jail, grabbed Edwards, beat, and hung him in the town square of Cummings. A few nights after this event, the Night Riders, a group of basically the white supremacists, went to the town of Oscarville and set everything ablaze. They destroyed houses and churches and farmland. They made all of these black families run for their lives. Over 250 people were displaced from their homes. Additionally, 500,000 acres of farmland and 20 cemeteries were destroyed for basically no reason. There was no evidence that either of the suspects had committed the murder of Mae Crow, but yet they decided to take matters into their own hands and completely destroyed so many families and the livelihoods of so many people. A lot of these families didn't end up going back to Oscarville because, for one, they were scared. For two, everything they had been destroyed. This land basically sat empty with just the shambles of what used to be Oscarville until 1956, when the Army Corps decided to build Lake Lanier on top of this land to prevent flooding from the Chattahoochee, that's a name, Chattahoochee River, and to provide power and water to these parts of Georgia, basically erasing what was left of Oscarville and the horrible history surrounding it. So there have been a lot of hauntings and deaths surrounding Lake Lanier. They're believed to be up to 700 deaths that have taken place in and around Lake Lanier. Many of them are just from, kind of your run-of-the-mill, like boating accidents, drownings, alcohol-related accidents, which is quite common in most lakes, but since Lake Lanier has so many visitors, it's just, amplified. Probably the most famous haunting occurred in 1958 when two young women, Delia Mae Parker Young and Susie Roberts, were traveling home from a dance. They were driving over Brown's Bridge, which is over Lake Lanier, when they lost control of their car and fell into the depths of Lake Lanier. About a year later, a couple of fishermen found the body of one of the girls. However, they were unable to identify which girl it was. In the 1990s, they actually found the car of the two girls, and inside of it was the body of Susie Roberts. So they were able to then identify Young's body as well. Although this tragic mystery had been put to rest, people had been reporting seeing a girl in a blue dress without her hands walking near the bridge. It was reported that she would follow her victims and then drag them unsuspecting into the lake below. This ghost was named Lady of the Lake, and people still report seeing this woman to this day. This is probably one of the most famous deaths and hauntings around Lake Lanier. However, like I said previously, there have been a lot of boating accidents and things of that nature, and some of them are strange. For instance, there are some cases where boats just burst into flames, which I am not a boat person, but that does not seem normal. There's also been a lot of tragedy, though. In July 2012, Usher's stepson, Kyle Glover, unfortunately died in a tubing accident when he was with a family friend, just having a normal day at Lake Lanier when tragedy struck. Another example of these strange and mysterious deaths happened in 2019 when a 2-year-old boy unfortunately died when he was exposed to E. coli in this lake. His parents fought for awareness for this outbreak happening in Lake Lanier, but at what cost? They lost their son. So just to reiterate, this place is full of destruction and death. From the Cherokee being run out at the very beginning of our story, to the citizens of Oscarville wrongly accused and having their town destroyed, all the way to today, where people are still getting in boat accidents and drunk driving accidents on this lake. It's just a lake that's full of sadness. There are some possible explanations for all of these deaths, though, because it is strange that this happens so frequently. So, not only is the entire city of Oscarville underneath, but a lot of the boats from these boating accidents, a lot of debris and things are under Lake Lanier, and authorities are unable to like rake the lake, I guess, and try to get everything up and out of the lake. And this, combined with the water levels receding each year, this just makes the debris closer to the surface of the water, which can cause more boating accidents for unsuspecting boaters who are driving really fast and might hit some sort of debris underneath the water. So this is a possible cause for all of this, these random boating accidents. Additionally, because of all this debris and things under the water, it makes searching for missing people and bodies extremely difficult, because it's not just searching the bottom of the lake, it's searching in all these nooks and crannies of all these shipwrecks, basically. So that makes it really hard for police to understand and try to solve cases when they do occur. Lastly, the water's depth levels are very hard to predict. They change every year. They're very inconsistent. So this makes it hard for people to even make a map of the shallow areas. While some of these could explain some of the random boating accidents and some of the drownings and things like that, it's still strange how many deaths have occurred at Lake Lanier. I hope you guys stay safe if you do decide to go to Lake Lanier. I will not be going, if you were wondering. Thank you very much. I choose to live. But if you do live near Lake Lanier and you go swimming there, if you go boating there, I'd like to know why. That is all I have for you guys today. I know this was kind of a quick video, not super in-depth, but I was just super interested in talking to you guys about Lake Lanier, some of the dark and mysterious history. But I would just love to hear anything in the comments below. Just let me know what you guys are thinking about this case. Do you have any theories that I might have missed? Any creepy hauntings that I didn't talk about? leave it below. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would like. No pressure, no pressure. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great and wonderful rest of your day and continue to be the bad bitches that you are.